This is my 2020 Mercedes A35 AMG. So far on this build, we took delivery of the car wouldn't start, so I had to clear some crash data and I got the car started. However, we ran into a few issues where there was tons of oil leaking from the car and I found out that we had a broken oil cooler. We ended up sorting the oil cooler, but whilst we were doing that, I noticed that the chassis legs were badly bent. Now this car was advertised as a category in, but after finally pulling the chassis, this happened. I messed up big time. I made a mistake, blew my engine ECU, but I managed to fix it. Next, I fitted a ton of new parts and I changed the blown airbag kit, and that brings us to this episode. It was only £18, have a look at that. Have a look at it, that's what it looks like. Guys, remember this, I found out the hard way.
We love the Beamers, the Benz, the Porsches. All of my fans, I know they're supporting. Style with nothing but look at us now.
Come back to the channel with all the hype around that car right there, if you could see it. My 2018 Audi R8, it's kind of easy to forget that I've got this build to finish. Today is all about finishing off my 2020 Mercedes A35 AMG, and to do that I need to nip down to my local Mercedes dealer, pick up some more brand new parts, come down, we're going to be buckling up this front end. If you're new to the channel and you haven't seen any videos on this build, I suggest going back, go to the playlist, check it out. It's got a really interesting story behind it, it means a lot to me. And if you're new here, thank you for subbing, but go check it out. You know what? This is going to sound so bad, but I've actually got a dilemma. Every day I leave the garage and I'm like, should I drive my 140? Should I drive the A35? I want to drive them all, but today I want to drive the A35 home and I want to buckle up that front end. And to do that, we need to get to work. So no more talking, let's get to... Hold on, before we continue, guys, remember I'm doing a raffle. It's for this 2008 Mark 5 GTI, and I've just sweetened the pot. I'm not giving away one GTI, but there's gonna be 10 winners. Winner number 1 and 2 are gonna be getting GTIs in their own respect, and for the other 8 winners, I'm gonna be giving away some Salvage Nation mystery boxes full of merch, and maybe some other bits and bobs in there, so stay tuned for that. So if you wanna get involved, head on over to raffle.com/Salvage Nation. The link is gonna be in the description down below. Grab some tickets, take part, let's roll on. And once this build is over, I've got some exciting news to share with you. But for now, let's continue. You come in. Come in. Alright guys, just back from Mercedes down in Stratford. I got a nice little haul of parts. Check them out. So I got that replacement foam insert. I told you guys I would get a new one, so I've got that. This is the lower grille for that front bumper. And this one here, this is the air duct. This sits behind the bumper, behind the main grille. This is the main under tray for that front bumper. So this sits right under the front bumper. It clips in at the front here and it connects. It's very important. It connects to the side splash guards here and there. And finally, I went down to a local breakers whilst I was out and about, and I picked up a replacement wing for that passenger side. Now, if you haven't seen this, check this out. The wing on the actual car is actually in good condition and it's covered in PPF, so it's a shame that I have to change it. But right here where it connects to the bumper is completely ripped off. Have a look, it's completely ripped off. There's meant to be a little tab right here, and that is where the wing connects to the bumper. I can try to do some sort of fix, but it's gonna be a bit sketchy and I don't want to do that. So yeah, like I said, got a new wing, so we're gonna be swapping this out as well. So that's it. Let's get the car back and start to reassemble all of these bits. In the last episode, I lined up, you remember we changed those bonnet hinges, I lined up the bonnet. Remember, go check out the previous episodes if you're not up to date. So I'm getting started by removing that broken wing. It's so sad because this wing is actually in good condition like I showed you, but it's gotta go. After removing a few number 10 nuts, the wing just popped off. I popped the new one in and I replaced all of those nuts and bolts. With that done, I went ahead and replaced the washer jets, and I just need to buckle everything down and make sure that everything's still lining up perfectly. Now as I'm doing this build, I got my guy Dex in the background. He's working on a Golf build that I've got coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, I wanted to swap out that foam insert on the front crash bar, but before fitting that, I had to fit the new air duct that I picked up as well. Now, as I'm trying to fit the air duct, I found out that I was actually missing something, which I'll show you later on, but for now, let's move on. Next up, I wanted to repair the pedestrian protection sensor. The original tubing for this sensor was broken, so I got a new tubing and I just had to replace it. The tubing just pops onto these tiny little sensors on each end, and they're held on with tiny cable ties. With all of that done, all I had to do was feed it into this channel in that brand new front bumper insert, and I was able to fit that on to the front crash bar. Now have a look at my new build. I've got a crazy video coming soon. Here's a preview. Have a listen. Okay, enough. Let's get back to the A35. With the new sensors and foam inserts fitted, it was time to fit the headlights again. And finally, I wanted to do a test fit on the front bumper. As we've changed the wing, I just wanted to double check if everything's still lining up, if everything's still fitting as it should. So this is how I got on. So there you go, the front bumper is on, and this is a very proud moment. I have done everything on this build thus far on my own. Normally I'll get help with other things like pulling the chassis and stuff. I did it all by myself and I'm so proud of this. No offense, Akil, but this one is on me. Have a look at it. So as you can see, everything is fitted together so nicely, so I packed up for the day and I went home. Alright, so guys, you saw the slow motion shots, the front end on this car. This is the final test fit, but we've run into a few issues. Check this out. Have a look at the lights. The lights are fitted up quite nicely. Everything here is fitted up quite nicely. We still need to do some body work on this bonnet right here, and we'll tidy up the body gaps a little bit more once everything is sprayed. But for now, everything's gone on quite well. Pan American grille is looking nice. Parking sensors, radar, everything has gone together quite nicely there. But in typical Mercedes fashion, I ordered this brand new from the dealership. You saw me pick it up. The original one was broken, as you can see. When I had the original one, there was a hard backing, kind of rectangular piece at the back, and I thought that was all one piece. I thought it came as one. But in typical Mercedes fashion, they're actually separate parts, and you have to pay double for both parts. I wasn't aware, and I can't mount this. This is like the mounting bracket. Have a look at that. But on this side, it's broken off right there, and I wasn't aware. Everything off the front end's got to come back off one more time, go into bodywork. So I'll order that in, and once I get that ordered in, I'll do the final assembly. But for now, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna enjoy this car over the next couple of days. I'm gonna drive it. I'm gonna see how it feels. In the last episode, I sorted out the dash. A lot of you guys were asking, but when I checked the codes for the seat belts, nothing on the front seat belts was coming up, and the seat belts are actually functioning fine in the front. There's no codes. The only codes that I've got is for the two bonnet poppers, and they're still in the post. So once they come, I'll swap them out. It's gonna be about a week before Akil gets back. We're gonna take the car into bodywork, like I said, but for now, I'm off. I'm gonna enjoy my A35 AMG. So, early in the morning, I went back down to Mercedes down in Stratford. I saw my guy Bobby behind the counter. They had the part, but I was gobsmacked. Check this out. Alright, so guys, so it's a few days later. I've just come back from Mercedes down in Stratford, where I picked up that bracket that I told you about, and I was actually surprised when my guy Bobby came from behind the counter and told me it was only £18. Have a look at that, 18 quid, including VAT for this bracket. I thought it was going to be a lot more, but that's the result. So what I'm going to do now is install that top air duct with that new bracket. The deliveries are starting to come in now, so I should have, I've seen some packages, I should have those bonnet poppers up there. I'm going to install that. And then there's one more thing for the airbag system. If anyone knows what it is, let me know. It says it's a refrigerant for the airbag system. But for now, we'll continue to fit all the new parts, and this bumper, I need to strip it back down, sand it down, get it prepped for paint, and we're going to be doing the final assembly, paint, etc., on this front bumper and on this car. I've been driving this car. It's so sick, it's so good. It's a really well-spec'd car. It's got the augmented reality camera in the front, which, as you're driving, one of my subscribers actually told me about it, but I didn't know, I've never seen it. But when you're driving, it brings up all these virtual things on the screen, and it does a lot. It's just a very well-spec'd car. But I'll show you a bit more once everything is all wrapped up. Let's continue to finish off the front end. So now that I've got the missing piece of the puzzle, let's try this again. That air duct clips on to that bracket that I just picked up, and I just had to remove the old broken pieces of the old bracket. But then I ran into another issue. I just want to point something out. This is why it's very important to get all your parts, and you have to take your time and go through the lining up process. We've got a little problem. I've located this screw. That's in place, that's in place, that's in place. Have a look here. That's in place on that side as well. But look, there's a massive gap at the top, and that's because either this front panel needs to come forward or this bumper bar needs to come up. It will go back, but it's too low, and that's because I didn't have this part. When I installed this front crash bar, I just went ahead, put it in blindly, buckled it down, and this is the stage where you have to go through. So all I need to do is loosen everything up, make sure that everything lines up, and then I can bolt it back down. So as I just explained, once everything was loosened, you can see this little room for adjustment, and that was the fix. Once everything was adjusted, I was able to buckle everything down, and all the screws went into place without a problem. I moved on to fitting that massive air duct along with these tiny little connecting pieces. And this is how it looks with all those air ducts in place, all those brackets in place. I think it looks pretty cool. The next morning I came in and more deliveries were showing up. This is something that I was waiting for. These are the bonnet poppers. These are part of the airbag system, so without these I couldn't reset the airbag light. I've had a lot of DMs and messages from you guys asking how to reset the pedestrian protection system. Always check your bonnet hood lifters or bonnet poppers, and also check that little sensor with the tubing which I fitted earlier. Alright you guys, I've just swapped out these two hood lifters. Have a look, I've got it on the diagnostic system. The squib for the left and the right hood lifters, as you can see, they've now changed to stored. So now I can just go ahead, clear that memory. And all I need to do now is wait for the refrigerant. There's one more thing, it's the refrigerant for the airbag system. I don't know what it does. Like I said, let me know what it does. But yeah, once that comes, we'll continue. So guys, next up, I went to Mercedes in Stratford, 83 quid. Have a look at this, right? Brand new. This is the refrigerant for the airbag system. This needs to go in. Now, you see with this one, on eBay, they're £90, but brand new from the dealership is 83 quid. Come on, have a look at it. That's what it looks like. Guys, remember this. I found out the hard way ages ago, but when it comes to Mercedes, Mercedes main dealer parts are normally a lot cheaper than if you buy them online. So yeah, if you ever need a part for a Merc, just give your local dealer a call. Check them out before you go searching on the internet. So that was a top tip for you guys. You can thank me later. Anyway, I had to remove the scuttle panel because this is hidden underneath the scuttle panel. On other models, it can be found in either the left wing or the driver wing. This is blown. I don't know what it's for. Let me know if you do know what it's for. Out with this old one, in with the new. Now, as you can see, it's super easy to replace this part. It's literally 2 nuts. They're number 10 nuts. A quick scan with the diagnostic tool. As you can see, there's no more fault codes, and have a look. The light is gonna go off. There it goes. No more airbag light. The entire airbag system has now been reset. Alright you guys, everything's been replaced on the front. I checked it on the diagnostics. There's no more airbag codes. I'm very happy about that. I've got one more thing to fit before we can get this car into paint, which is this little bad boy. It's a little trim panel, and it was broken when the knee airbag went off, and it's just been dangling down on the bottom. So we're gonna get that on. But have a look at this. We're doing some crazy work on the R8. Stay tuned. Next video is gonna be on this car. It's gonna be a crazy one. But for now, let's wrap up inside. Completely broken. So guys, everything under there is finished. Everything up there is finished. And have a look outside. It's getting dark. So that means that I'm finished. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Alright guys, so it's a few days later and I've already come back in to finish off this video. I've just spoken to Akil. Akil is not back until next week. He's extended his trip. He's over there having a swell of a time in the mountains in Albania. So it's time to wrap up this video. There's nothing more I can do. You've seen the car. I've done tons of work in this episode. It's just ready for bodywork, paint, and a final few bits and bobs. And this car is going to be 100% completed. So in the next episode, we're going to be completing this car. If you want to see how we get on, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to join the raffle, click the link down below. And if you're watching this and you liked it, press the like button. It really helps with the algorithm. And this is where we're going to head off. Thank all of you guys for supporting the channel. And like I always say, keep it moving, and I'll see you in the next one. Next time on Salvage Nation, it's a crazy one. The previous owner of this car reached out to me, and just on parts alone, it's 48 grand. That's like a deposit for 2 houses, man. Press it. Can you press the gas? A little bit. Okay. Tons of work done, tons of information gathered. It's gonna be interesting, it's gonna be crazy. Subscribe, stay tuned. We out of here, man. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that, why don't you check out one of my previous videos on the left? There's plenty in the playlist. And if you want to know more about the Salvage game, why don't you become a member of Salvage Nation, and I'll be there to guide you along the way. And don't forget, you can follow me on Facebook, TikTok and Instagram if you want to get an inside scoop before YouTube.